It's time for the Chips and Salsa Show.
The only show about Latinos for Latinos. And did we mention Latinos?
It's the Latísima.
Latinos come in all flavors, shapes, and sizes. You don't have to be Latino to enjoy chips and salsa.
People love chips and salsa.
What is up, everybody? Zeke Rodriguez here with the Chips and Salsa Show. New freaking Mexico. As always here, hanging out with the always amazing...
I'm Alice Lara, originally from the Chips and Salsa Show. Was just that, but now it's Chips and Salsa Show Arizona. Just a quick shout out to my buddy Don Jorge, who is rebooting it along with a brand new partner. I don't know if you've gotten a chance to see it yet, Zeke, but Cheryl Rosado, who is my good friend from my old neighborhood. So please watch out for that. We'll be promoting that as well. Today we have a wonderful guest. I'm going to introduce her briefly, real quick, and then we're going to get some national, and then we're going to get down to what she's really here for, which is very, very important stuff. It's Demetria. Am I pronouncing your name right?
You are, yes.
Demetria White, but we're going to call you D because we're going to make it very easy. But you go by D, right?
Yes, I go by D. Mm-hmm.
All right, and she is with CEF, which stands for Child Evangelism Fellowship. She is the New Mexico State Director. Do I have that correct?
Yes.
So we got plenty to talk about, but also she really keeps up with politics a lot, so we're going to touch on the national stuff first. But why don't you take just like 1 minute and tell the audience about yourself and your background?
Sure, yeah. So my name is Demetria White. I'm originally from Arizona, Tucson, but I moved to Missouri 30 years ago, and I always told my husband that I will be moving back to the Southwest, and we ended up doing that. I have been in CEF for 37 years off and on, so that's been exciting.
Wow.
Yeah, volunteering. And last year I took a full-time position in ministry, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that later.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is great. We're so happy to have you here.
Thank you.
She's been a speaker at CCIA. We always talk about them, the Coalition of Conservatives in Action, and that's where I got to know her. And
I saw the same speech. I was thoroughly impressed, and I'm excited to have you on the show. I have a lot of questions for you, as I'm sure the audience will as well. We'll put a link to how you can get a hold of her, how you can participate in her organizations in the YouTube description. So you guys are going to be just as enthralled as I am for sure. So you want to reach out to her, check out the description and the YouTube comments as well.
Please do. And then while you're doing that, we are on YouTube and we are on Rumble. So please, when you go there, if you haven't already, subscribe, follow. I always mess up the terms for each of those. But please, we're getting a really good following. And thank you very much for viewing and sharing. It's good information. And even if you watch us from another state, another place, you might think, that's New Mexico. The issues we talk about, they're always relatable nationwide. I mean, everything is. It's a difficult world, and we're here to provide information and opinion, and we'd love you to share it with us.
Yeah, I look at it like this. So if you look at the most oppressed countries, like especially, let's look at South America. Argentina was like the most oppressed Marxist country for the longest period of time. They got hit like right after World War I, they started getting hit with the Marxist indoctrination, all that stuff. Now they got Javier Milei in there, who's a badass president. Now they're kicking ass, taking names. So you can look at the most oppressed countries and oppressed states for what's going to come. And New Mexico being the worst state in the country, you can look at us real closely and see what's coming your way. And you can actually start to see diamonds in the rough come out of the state. Like, I think we're here. Like, we represent this whole state. And I think like we're just starting this movement here. And it's going to happen nationwide. So yeah. It's really important that we understand what's going on, and New Mexico is just an embodiment of what the hell's going on with this country. I mean, it's just hyper magnified here. That being said, you guys want to do some local stuff first? Or you want some national stuff?
Let's start national, and then we'll work ourselves down to local, I think.
Let's do it.
That.
Let's do it.
Right.
What's on your mind? What do you feel like doing?
Well, what I want to do, and I was actually in a lunch meeting before coming to record the show. We record this Monday afternoon, by the way, and then we upload it by the next day. But I had seen a headline about the Iranian president, and they said, well, we think we found his body, and Joey and I were talking about, so you guys are probably more up on this than I am. What's the latest on it?
Yeah, they killed him. It's people always act like, oh, no, it wasn't that. Well, actually, the reality is helicopters crash way more often than airplanes. Helicopters are ultra dangerous. I don't know why that dude was in a helicopter in the first place. That, to me, is suspect. I would never get in a helicopter, especially if I'm like a world leader. But, they're just kind of trying to throw out there that it was an accident. I believe it was an assassination. He was really close with Russia. He was really close with a lot of our enemies as well. So who knows who took him out? I just feel like it was definitely something that was done on purpose. That's my only take on it, really.
The helicopter, I heard, actually was interesting, was discontinued in 1980s.
Exactly.
So it's a very old helicopter.
Right?
Yes, and so that's interesting in a fact, maybe something has been, things have been didn't work. Something happened where they didn't have good mechanics. I don't know, but
That is so weird. So why would you be the world leader who's probably
Exactly.
got billions of dollars himself, if not trillions? Those guys are usually like trillion. I know the leader of Russia, what the freak is his name, Putin, is like a trillionaire. In reality, he's like a trillionaire. You're going to be hanging out in a 1980s expired helicopter? Get out of here, dude.
I had not heard that.
Yeah. And it was foggy, very, very foggy.
Oh.
It started out sunny the day.
Just like Kobe
and then
Bryant.
it got foggy. Yeah, you never know.
And Joey and I were talking about what were you saying, Joey, about the...
There was a conspiracy theory that they said that they were cloud seeding before he went out.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, so.
I lean more towards conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
Because they've been proven right time and time again over the years.
It's so true.
It is
what you
what
say
it
is so true. I mean, the first, was it yesterday that the headline came out? I can't remember now. And, anymore, you just, boom, there's something weird about this. You just get that feeling anymore, especially when you're political junkies like us.
False flags.
It's terrible.
False flags. And then coincidence, if you get deep enough into politics and you do take the red pill, for lack of a better way to say it, coincidences are just they're not a thing anymore. It's like, no, that was pretty much what was supposed to happen.
There are no coincidences.
There are no
And
coincidences.
the technology today, man, it's hard to believe that.
It's hard to believe it. So he's gone. They say that's going to spark World War III. I think World War III has been sparked a while ago. It's like a year ago. As soon as Russia and Ukraine started butting heads, that's when World War III really kicked off. And actually, World War III kicked off probably before that. I'd say 9/11. You can go back as far as 9/11.
Might have had the beginnings.
That's when things started to go really downhill real quick for America, at least. That's all I know. They're shutting down coal plants like crazy. I want to talk about that really quick, too. And if you guys didn't know, I posted this on the Chips and Salsa show. If you guys follow the stories on the Instagram, I put a lot of pretty intense stuff on the Instagram. So the people who do follow the stories on the Chips and Salsa show Instagram are the hardcore people. I love
May I
them.
say, good job, buddy. Good job.
Thank you. So basically, it was just a post about how they're shutting down all the coal plants, and there is no third world nation that isn't power sustainable, that isn't power driven. So we're about to fall into the third world category. Us, America, we used to be the world, superpower in power, and every day we're just losing our coal plants. We will be out completely of coal plants within the next few years. So just so you guys know, it's not looking good. Just most people don't even know that. So I'm hoping that as people understand what's going on, we can, push towards doing the opposite.
And, my boss, so full disclosure, I work for Copper State Consulting Group in Phoenix. I still do some part-time work for my boss there. And in the past, we had a lot of energy clients. And they would have coal plants. All the hoops that they had to jump through to have the most up-to-date production and clean air and all that stuff. I mean, if you just kind of look at the history, I'm not going to say much more than that, but...
And it's super clean, right? Coal's like clean as hell. I think America had the cleanest coal scrubbers in the world.
Yeah.
I think so too.
We had zero carbon emission output. It's just vapor. It's like water vapor that comes out. So we're under attack yet again. That's always our conclusion on this show. On another note, what else was there? There was the black students that turned their back on Biden. That was interesting to see.
Interesting.
I forgot what college he was at, but he was there, and everywhere he goes, all you do is see people yell at him or turn their back on him. You never see the guy ever get praised or people.
You might see two people.
I mean,
But not even that. It's
right?
hard to find
And
them,
it's all
right?
the same two people everywhere he goes.
They wear disguises.
They're paid.
They're paid actors.
Paid actors.
And you don't know where that happened? That just happened recently, though.
That just happened.
Yeah, I just saw it, but I can't remember where it was at.
D might
either.
know. No, I don't know. I just saw
I was impressed.
I saw a little clip of all these dudes turning their back on him. I'm like, yeah, that's what we need right there. And it's weird, how did this guy win the presidential election? Got more votes than Obama. The black community's turned their back on him. And then it just came out too the other day that he's $850 grand or $900 grand in the hole from his book last year. Nobody bought any of his books, so he's in the hole. So this is the guy who's supposed to be the most popular president of all time, got more votes than Obama, who can't even sell a freaking book, and nobody wants to everyone wants to turn their back on him. It's wild.
Well, and now he says, I want to debate you. I'm going to...
Yeah.
Okay, so here's what I want to ask both of you. What are your predictions? What do you think the strategy is that the Democrats are thinking about doing? I mean, I can't even imagine Biden trying to get up there to debate. Trump's all for it. He's like, cool. And RFK's like, I want to be in it too. And Trump says, yeah, sure, whatever. Whoever wants to do it. What do you think they're planning on doing? Do you think they're waiting for the convention, or I'm trying to figure that out.
On the debate thing, I don't really get yet, because I don't think he's even capable to debate.
know.
Honestly, Now, on other things, I honestly think that they're trying to cause so much unrest in this world. This is just my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
That there may not be an election. Because if you think about it, you cause unrest.
Damn.
You declare, yeah.
D with the
pretty
black
bold,
pills. She's
D.
throwing out black
I know.
pills.
Pretty
All
bold
right.
saying
I know.
that.
I'm
Well, it is a
stepping
lot
out.
of-
I'm stepping out.
It is a lot of distraction for us too.
It is.
You know, every time you hear something, then you can't help it. You cover that. And I'm getting to the point where I'm like, okay, I really just want to try to focus on what I can focus because there's just too many things. I can't keep up with it all.
Yeah.
Do you have predictions, Zeke?
Well, the pattern, according to the Bible, is that Satan's going to have his day. You know, we're going to be able to push back, and then evil's going to come push back even harder. And that's when, you know, a lot of people are probably going to end up dying. But at the end of the day, God wins, you know. So we are going to go through a really dark tunnel. There's going to be a lot of horrible stuff that we're going to go through. It is what it is, guys. We've enabled so much evil in this world. We're going to have to pay for that in one way or another, you know. But at the end, I see so many people waking up. I see so many other optimistic outcomes. I don't see how we don't win at the end of the day. It's just a matter of the damage control that we're going to incur while we get to that victory. That's my somewhat black pill, but mostly optimistic outlook.
and just kind of just surviving it.
Yeah.
And not backing down.
Exactly
on
right.
Now, it does not mention anywhere in the Bible that I have read, also that I've heard, that there isn't in the United States at the end either. So if you look at it that way, you know, there has to be a fall from the inside somehow, somewhere. And if you connect that together, then, you know, of course, those of us who are Christians will be caught up in the air. So that is our rescue right there.
That's a good point. Could you elaborate on that a little bit more? Because I think that's very interesting.
Yeah. So first of all, in the Bible, there's, you know, they talk about Iran, which used to be Persia. They talk about Israel. They talk about all these other places, but there is absolutely nothing that is suggested about America.
Wow.
And, you know, it does, you know, there's so many people that have talked about the imploding of America, you taking down the structures of America and all this stuff. And then what do you get? You get, you know, the less America becomes a third world country, like you were saying.
Right.
And I think that just falls right back into we no longer are strong like we used to be. I mean, God's blessing has been taken away from us because of abortion and other things in this world. And, you know, at the end of the day, those of us who are Christians will be rescued from all of this that's going to happen.
So you're basically saying that, and I hadn't heard this interpretation before. I think it's very cool and interesting. I'm not trying to argue with you. I'm just trying to get a clear picture that essentially America is kind of like doomed to fail because it was never alluded to in the Bible.
I think so.
Essentially,
it's not really doomed, but I think because we have turned our back on God as a nation, I think that is where we are going to end up we're no longer the apple of God's eye. Because we stand up, you know, most majority of people here in the United States support abortion, and majority, you know, that's God's people. I mean, these babies are His, and if you look at it that way, and you know, I think yes, we are doomed.
That.
I think
I can wrap with that.
The blessing is removed.
That doesn't scare me because at the end of the day, this is a spiritual battle. No matter how you guys want to look at it, you look at the hardcore evil that's going on. I mean, you know, child trafficking. That's just coming up like. Every day you hear about the rape vans. Did you hear about that guy in California that's going around, you know, and you just hear about this stuff. So when people actually waking up to the spiritual battle that's really going on behind the scenes, it's not going to be nation versus nation. It's going to be, are you on team God? Are you on team humanity? Or are you not? Right. You know, so I think to me that makes sense.
So do you think I would be too optimistic? I don't like to use the term devil's advocate for what we're talking about, but you know, we do have this problem at the border. We basically have an open border. Mm-hmm. It doesn't really matter what we do. I don't think this administration intends to do anything more about it. Just keep it the way it is. But wouldn't it be cool if all the people that are coming in, and I think there are some actually that might be, you know, there are some people that actually want to come here and be good Americans and make a living and do well for their families. But wouldn't it be great if that would turn around and help us to preserve our nation? And I mean, you know, God knows what He's doing and what His plan is. So we just kind of have to hang in there, like you say. I'd like to be eternally, you know, I've always been accused of being an eternal optimist, and I guess I just don't know how to be anything else. I'm not saying that I perfectly feel that way.
Well, and no one knows.
No one knows.
No one knows. I mean, it could be, you know, the Holocaust. I'm sure the people during that Holocaust time, during World War II, they thought the same thing, you know, that we do now. But you know, and they were delivered, and our nation grew for the last 70 years. who knows? Maybe God's going to give us another chance, and we're going to be here another 7 years, and things will totally turn around, and there'll be a revival, and we don't know. Only God knows. So
yeah, it's hard. It's hard to go in detail to map the Bible like that. You
Yeah.
know, it's like all I know is I have faith in there being a heaven and that we're going to be judged. You know, I have faith in Jesus being the truth and the light. I mean, that's just who I am, where I'm at in my life, and I'm going to die with that. That being said, I'm open. I'm open to different timelines. I'm open to, so long as for me, God is at the front and Jesus is at the front, I'm good. And for as far as everyone else is concerned, I pray that you find Jesus and you find God in your life, because that was my pivotal moment, my pinnacle in my life. And I wish I had found that sooner. But hey, what really pushed me into it, honestly, finding Jesus in the Bible, was getting into politics. You get into politics and you start really trying to go to the top and see what's really running things, what's really at the top. You get confronted with massive, hardcore evil right away. And there's no other way to explain it, to rationalize it, or deal with it, or protect yourself from it, unless you find God. That's it. So that's my testimony right there. Didn't mean to get too into that today.
That's well said, and we'll see if you're inspiring people, because on our show, one of our missions is to inform and get some good information. So if there's any inkling you have right now, this is the time to become engaged. We always talk about this on the show, and Zeke's just a wonderful promoter for that as well. But even if you have an hour a week or a half hour to talk to a friend, to share this podcast, to get a little bit more informed, I really think it's a good thing. It's a good thing. And you may find stuff that you don't like, but that's okay, because we're always kind of searching for the truth.
Yeah. Yeah, I can go in a whole 30-minute tangent on that. But basically, most people who watch the show understand there's a depopulation agenda going on right now. I mean, Dee, are you familiar with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
She's familiar with that. And so the idea behind that is that the less people that are on the world, so the collective conscious is so powerful that the less people that are on the world, the easier it is for those people to manifest or control reality with their collective conscious perception. So that's why they're trying to get rid of so many people, because they're the only ones that are left, so they can manifest whatever reality they want with their collective conscience. Mm-hmm. So as things start to get worse and less people are on this planet, our spiritual, Christ-like collective conscience becomes that much more powerful, which is why Christians are always the most persecuted. People who love Jesus are the most persecuted in the world, period. Mm-hmm. Nobody's going to argue with you on that,
Well, another way to look at it, too, is that we are, as Christians, are the retainer, if you think about it.
Yeah.
We are.
That's true.
We are the retainer.
What do you mean?
What I mean is, right now, as Christians are here on this earth, we pray every day against these evils of this world. Mm-hmm. Once the rapture comes and God takes his people from this earth, who's going to be here to pray against the evils of this world? So right now, we're as Christians, we are retaining.
I love that you have a very interesting perspective on things. That's very cool.
That's good, retain. I'm gonna steal that. That's we're the retainer. That's really true. Did you guys get a chance to watch any of the NRA Trump rally?
No,
I
don't watch much of Trump rally. I don't. No.
I try to catch them, and I only got to watch the first part of it, and it always amazes me. This guy, all week he's in court and doing this and holding little press conferences and just getting attacked and beat up, and he's, what do we decide, he's like 77, 78 years old.
He gets hammered.
And then the weekend comes and boom, he's there at a rally and he's just, right there and talking. And I'm running into, and I want to just bring this up real quick, but I'm running into some people who are still unsure of who they're going to vote for.
No way.
And these are people that I thought, wow, really? I thought for sure that you were a Trump person like me. So I'm talking about this because I want to have a deeper conversation. A couple of people that I talked to, I didn't have the time to do that, and ask them, because I want to see, why are you thinking? Where's your doubt? The good thing is they didn't say they were for the present occupant of the White House. But they weren't strong enough to go with my guy, Trump 2024. By the way, we got to get a sign. So if anybody has a sign, 2024 or an old Trump sign, I want to get it for the background. And I think I've got to know how they think and what to talk about. So one of the things, and I did get them thinking, we had in the conversation, I said, okay, so you've had 4 years, you experienced 4 years under Trump, and now almost another 4 years under Biden. Tell me which ones that you're better off with or more comfortable with. Oh, well, I hadn't really thought about that. I mean, are you guys coming across any of that? Is that just my phenomenon? Do I talk too much?
You got the patience of a saint. I'll say that. But go ahead, Deanne.
No, I don't know. I have to weigh all of the people like JFK. You know, he kind of interested me
Right.
for a little while.
Me too.
Okay.
Me too.
You mean RFK Jr.?
Until just last week. Yeah, JFK Jr.
RFK Jr.?
Yeah. Oh, there you go, RFK Jr.
We know what you're talking
He interested me for a little while until last week when he said that he was for abortion. And then that was like, that totally knocked it for me.
You got to be on
So
that side, though. If you're a Democrat, you got to be
You
on that
have
side.
to be, yeah. one
Let
or
me
the
interject
other.
real quick because I did hear him just on Bart Chiroma's show yesterday, and he was really bouncing around the abortion question.
he?
And I think what he finally said is, well, you know, it's a viable fetus like 7 months. Okay, that's what I heard. If I got that wrong, I'm sorry, but I think that's what I heard. Anyway.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is, but so is Trump. I mean, he did say a couple weeks ago too that there was some, you know, exceptions. And so it's one of those things. I don't know. I have learned that I don't put my trust in any man. The only trust I put in is God. He's the only one that can deliver us from what we're going on through right now.
That's a good answer. Well, they've done studies, and it's 15 weeks. They've done studies on both the levels. So nobody wants abortion up to the day that they're born. Nobody wants that. And 90% plus of people want some type of regulation on abortion. Like, it doesn't matter you're red or blue. They want some kind of cap on it. But the studies come out about 15 weeks. That's like the middle ground between the hardcore left who like post-birth abortions.
Yeah, no limit.
You know, parentheses infanticide, and then the Republicans are like moment of conception. You know, which is arguable scientifically because there's all kinds of like crazy stuff going on. You know, with the eggs being germinated essentially, and all the spirit that it has in and of itself. Once you know.
Sure.
So the middle ground is 15 weeks on polls. That's pretty much what Trump's probably
probably what he's thinking.
lining up with.
Yeah, exactly.
But as far as RFK is concerned, what else bothered you on was just the abortion thing or?
Yeah, I think just mainly was the abortion. I'm not going to vote for. I really love Trump's business. His business aspect is amazing.
Right.
You know, he's not a great politician, but he is getting better.
Well, that's what I like about that. He's not a politician.
I do love his business, and I will vote for Trump. I have no problem with him. But I just, you just kind of have to weigh the pros and the cons. There's several,
Well,
and I have no clue who else is out there.
That's it.
Because I haven't paid attention.
That's all that matters.
Those are the three main ones. And the other thing about RFK Jr. is the border. They were trying to, put through jail on the border. She was asking specifically, will you be deporting people? And again, I think he was trying to bounce, and I understand that. He's trying to bounce around the question with that too. And I'm not saying you can go in there and just take out. I think it's close to 20 million people that are probably here that have come across during this administration. They say it's about 12. So I always think, it's probably almost double that. And that's just me. Yeah. But that's a big deal because there's so much lawlessness there in having an open border. So I've got to go with the strongest person. But I wanted to talk to you guys about it because I know I'm going to start talking to people and find out because, before you know it, boom, the election's going to be here. And, my guy's Trump right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just got a huge, I don't even know what you're going to say, epiphany or a vision of what's going to happen. We're not in Kansas anymore, guys. It's going to be getting crazy from right now, from the time you're listening to this podcast for the rest of our lives. It's going to be getting crazy.
Yeah.
Because we got 30 million. I heard it's 30 million. We got 30 million people up in here, and we're going to have to deal with those people. We're going to have to deal with them. Oh, yeah. We're not deporting 30 million people. I don't know.
No, it can't happen.
Trump says he wants to do that, and God bless him for saying that, but the likelihood of that happening is very low.
At least I feel like, he's done that before. At least there'll be more control on the border. Because even he gets in there for 4 more years, we still have to have a good Congress to back him up and to get things done. And things are not going to be solved overnight. It's going to be a mess.
Yeah.
It's still going to be
There's going to be a lot of
cleanup.
A lot of treason going on.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people should be hung right now. Straight up, I'll say it. I mean, that's the way they dealt with traitors back in the day. It was like, you can't be betraying your country, man. You can't be doing that. And there's people doing it willy-nilly. They've been doing it for a long time. That border's should have been built decades ago. That border's been wide open for a long time. We think it's been closed, but it's been trafficking humans and drugs and kids for
It's just
ever.
never been this bad. And everything is from all over the country. It's not just south of the border anymore.
No.
Yeah, we might have to edit out that treason statement. But anyways, they don't like that. I know that's like one of the biggest censored things you can do.
Going for another digital badge of honor, right?
I am Mr. Ban.
So,
I gotta
Dee,
stop.
just to let you know, because we have been, they've banned
They've
us
censored
on
the hell
YouTube.
out of us. Yeah.
Really, I wondered about that.
They have for
I
different
listen
reasons.
to you guys every once in a while, so.
And
Yeah.
thank you.
Yes,
We appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right, so
I like the truth.
Right?
there you go. There you go.
Amen.
Yeah.
Is there anything national before we hit and the kind of we're going to focus on D stuff? Anything else that?
Just real quick, I heard that Netanyahu and the leader of Hamas just got served with the world's largest, basically the main organization in the world that prosecutes criminals. They hit Netanyahu and Hamas leaders with crimes against humanity with warrants for their arrest. And that just came out like right before I came on the show. It was going super viral. I haven't seen anything go that viral in a long time. Like
Both Netanyahu and
yeah,
Hamas.
it was like 20,000 views in like an hour for the one video I was going to watch. So that means it's like serious. So by the time you guys watch this, you're going to see a lot more news on it. Very interesting stuff. I think it was genocide. I don't really care about, I've said this before, I don't really care what's going on in Israel. And I mean, that's horrible, all the death. I think Israel stood down. I think they had a chance to protect its own country and they chose not to. And then for me, it was all choreographed so they can retaliate.
Yeah.
And there's just horrible, evil things going on over there. And yeah, people aren't putting up with it anymore. We'll see what happens. But that's just something worth noting.
Yeah, that's kind of big news. I mean, you go offline for an hour or two and boom, stuff happens.
It's getting, like I said, every day now is going to be getting nuts, girls. Every day. But I think that's it. The NMSU protesters, Dee, you kind of want to talk about that too? I don't know, what do you think?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No,
I thought it was pretty awesome, honestly, because I mean, the Palestine protesters are kind of way out. This is my thought on the Palestine protesters. Honestly, I think I emailed the mayor of Las Cruces about this because I just really feel like that all of the Palestine protesters. Everybody has to protest in one way or another.
Right.
But if they want to protest, I think that we need to fund them and have them go to Gaza and volunteer on the front lines. Instead of worrying about what's going on here and thinking that we could change it, which we can't, we need to fund them and help them go over and see what happens over on that direction.
So are you like me? So like if we won a big lottery or something, we could,
ship them over.
we could do that. Here's a check. Where do you want to go? Here's
You
your
girls are
plane
hardcore.
ticket.
Absolutely.
I love conservative girls.
Ship them over, yeah.
Go ahead. Go.
I agree.
Go
I
help
mean,
them.
they have work to be. I mean, if they want to do something about it, be hands on.
I want to
Yeah.
give kudos to NMSU interim president, and that's Moni Torres. Actually, I know Moni from my high school days.
You smoke cigarettes with her in theater, right?
No, I never smoked.
Being a lot
And you
cooler
could
if you
smoke
did.
in the back of the building at Las Cruces High School. You could smoke cigarettes. That's where everybody. It's so funny now, and I'm sure some of them were funny ones. I don't know, but at that time it was overall tobacco.
But you took theater with her, and now
Yeah, I
she's
took theater, and now
interim
she's
president.
the interim president of New Mexico State
Wow.
University, our alma mater. You probably didn't go to NMSU.
not, no.
Zeke and I are Aggies. And, at first, she was very patient because they were doing a peaceful process.
Oh.
But I understand they started spitting on the police officers. And when it came to that, okay, take them away. And they arrested them, right?
Yeah, they did. They did. I think it's a great thing. I think that they have to step up and because you just never know.
She did her job.
She did her job, and the officers did their job.
They were trespassing. It's assault. When you spit on someone, it's assault. And kudos to the officer. That was a great tackle. I mean, that was hands down one of the best officer tackles I've ever seen.
I haven't seen that.
It was awesome.
Oh, it was good.
It wasn't dangerous either. It didn't kill him or like maim him. It was just like get the hell down. It looked great. Good highlight reel.
And was it
Yeah.
the local police or the NMSU,
NMSU.
police?
Well, NMSU and the High Patrol there.
Yeah.
So both of them.
But NMSU
Was it where they did
was
the
the guy who did the
tackle?
slam.
Okay.
Yeah, I think. I mean, big guy too.
Wow.
It was awesome. Awesome to see. And they found out those Palestinian protesters nationwide. Well, most of them, like half of them, they don't even affiliate with the school.
I heard that was 40%.
Yeah, they don't even
Really?
affiliate
I
with
did
the
not know
school,
that.
which was happening at Alma de Arte for those who are following that whole debacle. Most of the protesters who protest at Alma de Arte don't even have any affiliation with Alma de Arte High School.
Oh, seriously?
Swear, yeah. There are no kids gone there. They've never been there. They're just there to protest.
And they're paid.
And they're probably
Oh, I'm
paid.
sure,
they're,
yeah.
they're probably paid. And then also they found out that there's, for lack of a better way, a Chinese connection to the Palestinian protesters as well. So they're getting funded by China.
Surprise, surprise.
They're not from the school that they're protesting at, and it's like, come on, man, this is all organized to take down America. It is what it is.
But exactly why we do this show, because this is not talked enough about. Now, we find it because, we follow politics. I know that Joey and Haley do too, and a lot of you that watch us do. But a lot of people, they just don't. They don't have the time for it. They're busy in their life. So that's why I say, pass it along to them. Send them this. And even if you have a particular spot, because some people don't have an hour to listen to us, say, you know what, at the 50 mark, listen to Dee talk about NMSU or whatever. Help them. Or use the speed feature. I can't do it with Zeke because he talks too fast. You know what I'm talking about? So when you go on YouTube and you can speed it up, but your brain works so fast and you talk fast, I have to slowly do it because my brain works slow. It does. But I use that feature because sometimes you don't have a whole hour. Do you guys use it? So instead of, an hour, you can speed it up and do, 45 minutes or so.
That's awesome.
It's a little tip. It's a little tip.
I use it every once in a while, but not all the time. I listen to the long form. I listen to long form content. I listen to news. And I'm not bragging, probably like 2-3 hours a day. As I'm working out in the mornings, every morning I get up, I spend about 30-45 minutes, getting abreast with the local news or news in general. But anyway, we have Dee here.
We're ready.
And she has a lot of really incredible information that is epic in a lot of ways. Go ahead, Alice.
Well, I was going to say just before, because we're going to give her the rest of the show. You know what it's time for? It's time to talk about your favorite magazine and my favorite magazine.
Shout-outs, without a doubt. So yeah, Flavors of the Desert, they are in action. They get you going on the social media, guys. You guys own a restaurant, you own a food truck, and you want to get some freaking views, these are the guys you want to hit up. You want to get in a magazine that's like specific to good food in New Mexico, these are the guys that hit up. And they also own the studio that we're at right now. So if you got something to say, you got a commercial you want to shoot to throw on some content, they got you here. They got the sound, they got the video, they got the lights, they got everything. So that's like pretty much all around social media package here at Oregon Mountain Studios and Flavors of the Desert. So you got good food, you got something to say it. We're not trying to hog up the airways here, guys. Like, we need more truthers, if anything. So don't hesitate to come on here and give this, place a shot. They'll give a shout out to you if you want, do a little podcast. So thank you guys so much for having the studio. I always, appreciate everything that they do for the community, because without these guys, we wouldn't be able to get this truth out here for the locals. There ain't no one else. What was it, Sun News? These guys are freaking lying through their teeth every day, And we're not perfect, but at least we ain't them. So
I like that. At least we ain't them. Let's use that. That's a good slogan.
It's just what it is. But anyway, okay.
Independent broadcasting.
So the reason that we wanted to have Dee here is because she does something very, very important. So CEF, Child Evangelism Fellowship, we all know that there's a problem. A lot of our kids don't have intact families. Sometimes they barely have one parent, which makes it even more difficult. Not like in my boomer generation. It was kind of a given. Everybody had, they usually had a church they went to and were believers. But that's kind of, it's not as strong anymore.
Right.
So I wanted her to come and talk about this because, I think this is so important. So explain. So since 1937, this was this little guy says here.
Wow.
Yeah.
CEF, Reaching Children Worldwide. Dee White, take it away.
Okay. Well, it is my honor to be here. I love watching you guys.
Thank you.
And so I am excited because CEF is actually a passion that I've had. I was raised in an alcoholic family. My dad was alcoholic and extremely violent. And so at around 10 years old, he moved out of the house and left us with no money or anything. And around that time, my aunt invited us to a backyard Bible club, which was put on by CEF. And that's how I got saved, and that's how I got involved. So that was 37 years ago.
So it was you and your mom and your siblings, or who was all involved with that?
Yeah, so it was my mom and my siblings, and I'm the oldest of 8. So at the time, I was the oldest of 4. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
So there was 4 of you that went with your mom at that time?
Yes.
And then 4 came later from
my stepdad.
From your stepdad?
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
If we just had a couple more of you, we wouldn't have a population problem anymore.
Yeah, so it was a pretty incredible. I fell in love with CEF. My aunt was actually the assistant director in Kansas City, Missouri, and so we started out. I just helped her through my high school years and everything. And then I went to Bible college, and then I actually did backyard Bible clubs and stuff when I had children throughout their time of, being raised and raising them. And I also was in full-time ministry here and there throughout the years. And a couple years ago, I was just really praying. I'm like, Lord, my daughter, my youngest, is actually graduating high school this next year.
Cool.
She's a senior.
Awesome. Which high school?
She goes to Arrowhead.
Mm-hmm. That's a smart girl.
Yeah. Yeah, she had a choice: Arrowhead or homeschool. So we had no other in between.
I know people who've done hybrid. They did a little bit of both.
Yeah, that's what she's doing. A little bit of both.
Awesome. Awesome.
My middle daughter is graduating at MSU also this fall or this spring.
Oh,
So
wonderful.
I have both of them graduating in 2024. So
Congratulations, that's awesome.
Where are they getting
Or
their
25.
degree in?
one is getting her degree in wildlife ecology,
Ah.
and the other one we have no clue yet. She's just hanging out and
Just being a
getting
lot
her
smarter than
own
most New Mexican kids.
her
for
associate's degree in business probably is what's going to end up
Cool.
being. So,
Good
yeah.
girl. Okay.
Yeah, so I had a daycare, and we would put CEF curriculum in there and off and on. And a couple years ago, I started praying. I really want to get back into full-time ministry, and I called CEF about 4 years ago and asked them about CEF of New Mexico because every state has a Child Evangelism Fellowship. And I called them, and they said, "Well, we haven't had a state director in New Mexico for 6 years."
Wow.
And so I was like, oh, wow, that's crazy because that's a big gap, And so I started praying, and God led me to be able to call them back. And I said, if you have anything about a local director, I would be interested in a local director. And they said, by golly, we do. We would love to be able to open a chapter down in southern New Mexico.
Wow.
And so CEF in New Mexico actually has the main umbrella, which is CEF of New Mexico. And then we have CEF of northern New Mexico, which is a chapter. But we've never had a chapter down in southern New Mexico, which covers 15 counties. And so it runs from the Arizona state line all the way to East Texas or East New Mexico, which is West Texas.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, we needed that down here so bad.
We did.
I'm so surprised that there wasn't something down here. I mean, 'cause
Nothing.
Isn't Las Cruces like the second largest city in the whole state?
It is, but what was going on was, my understanding is El Paso was coming up and kind of filling that gap every once in a while.
yes,
That makes
yes.
sense.
But several years ago, CEF, because of insurance purposes, that they have to stay in their own states now. So no one has been down here for 30 years. And so last year we created a brand new chapter down here in southern New Mexico.
Awesome.
And so we have started as a local director. I went away back to Missouri, to Warrenton, Missouri, for a 12-week intense program of CEF. They send you through the schooling.
I thought it was Missouri.
It's Missouri.
Okay.
It's not Missouri. It's not.
I didn't interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, you're good. No, so went there for 12 weeks and came back. And during that 12 weeks, the Lord led me to take the state director position.
12 weeks. Okay.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
like boot camp. Jeez.
It was like boot camp, especially for this mid-40, upper 40 lady, because I have not been to school in a long time.
Oh, wow.
So that was a lot
So you're
of
getting up early with your coffee and everything? Huh?
Oh, yeah. And it was funny because I was the oldest one there at the school, and everyone else was my children's age. So I had, I was hanging out with 18 to about a 30-year-olds right in that group right there. And it was a lot of fun. So
That sounds cool.
For you.
we had a good time.
So what is going on? I mean, how does someone get involved? Are you guys still doing the backyard style, or what's up?
So we have all sorts. CF started in 1937, but was here in 1939. Created New Mexico here
Wow.
in 1939.
It started here, or it was just here? There was a chapter here.
It started here in
It
1939.
started here?
No, it started in California.
Okay, and then
but we were his next state.
spread out.
Yeah.
Oh, it was
and
number
spread
2.
it. Number 2.
That's so cool.
Or it's around number 2, number 3, somewhere
That's
in there.
impressive.
That's
for New
badass.
Mexico to be
Yeah.
number 2.
And we were actually in the prisons here too, which I thought was pretty cool. Years ago, we would go.
Aren't you in the prisons anymore?
Well, that's what's really cool. Is this last spring we went to John Paul Taylor Center, and they let us do Bible studies there. So that was really fun. I got to go in there and
That's
do
the
that.
place to be right there.
Yeah, absolutely. We had a great time. So CEF, the biggest ministry
outreach
we
ministry,
have
yeah.
is the Good News Club.
Okay.
And the Good News Club is actually the one that we do after school in the public school.
Wow.
And
Oh yeah. That's right.
Yeah. So this
I love
is the
this.
one that we actually do every week for 6 weeks, and we can rotate. You could do it fall and spring semester. And we go into the public schools, and we have an hour to an hour and a half worth of songs and Bible studies, character traits, games, memory verses, all sorts of fun things for the kids to be able to learn about Jesus in the public school right after
I
school.
am so impressed that you're able to go into the public
Yeah,
schools
that trips me out.
in today's world. Because you hear about, that's always been a fight. So, I mean,
How did you do that?
Well, actually, in 2001, the Supreme Court issued a ruling that Child Evangelism Fellowship has we are allowed to go into the public schools.
that is so freaking cool. Who
yeah.
pushed that?
This was Good News Club versus Milford Central School in, I don't remember where that's at, but it is the Milford Central School District, and back in 2001, and they had a big push out. I mean, as in that school did not want them there, and so CEF is actually, we have our attorneys behind us, and in fact, any school that fights us from coming in, we can actually get our attorneys involved because it's a freedom of speech, and we can get them in there and write letters and say, hey, yeah, we can do this.
So if you guys don't know, if you want to go to the Supreme Court, and even if you want to go pro se, and that's typically what you got to do is go pro se because the attorney fees are so ridiculously outrageous, and you basically just got to get coached up and educated on the law and represent yourself pro se. Even to do that, it's at least $250,000, at least. Sometimes much, much more if you want to get a case heard in the Supreme Court, straight up. So if someone lobbied and paid a lot of money and did a lot of praying to get this pushed through. Absolutely. Serious work to get something pushed through the Supreme Court and get a favorable freaking ruling.
Right.
Unbelievable. That's a miracle.
God is good. Yeah.
God is good.
So yeah, I'm just so excited to be able to represent New Mexico as the state director. There's so much to learn about CEF. I mean, they have so many. We equipped and train all the volunteers. All of our volunteers are background checked. They go through they have to be going through extensive training in order to do any of these Good News Clubs. We do these trainings all over New Mexico. And so it's a lot of fun. It's, just exciting to be able to share the gospel. In fact, I have a story back in Booker T, Washington was our first Good News Club.
It's a rough school.
Yeah, just this last spring. And one of the teachers, Rochelle, she was go start church, and she wanted to start a team, and she started a team of 4. And we got to be able to go into that school for 6 weeks. And the first week I came to visit, one of the little girls raised her hand. We had 12 enrolled. Get this, from nothing to 12.
Wow.
And the first thing she did was she raised her hand and she goes, "You mean we get to pray in school?" And I said, "Absolutely, you get to pray in school."
Adorable.
And so, these are the things that I love to tell stories about because, we're changing lives.
Yeah, so. Man, look at what happened to you. I mean, your testimony itself is so incredibly powerful, and it's relatable, a lot, especially from that generation. The alcoholism was rampant. It still is. So for someone, a little girl, to have, someone to, rely on, your whole family, and then they're there for you, and now here you are spreading that same, it's a beautiful story. It's incredible.
I want to ask you, Dee, so you're in how many schools here locally, did you say?
So we are in Booker T, Washington, and we're in the John Paul Taylor Center. We are hoping to get into 4 more elementary schools next year.
That's great.
And then we have a chance to be able to get into east New Mexico, which is like, I believe it's Artesia, Carlsbad area.
Yeah.
And so we were able to get over there. We do have a Good News Club up in Mimbres, New Mexico.
Okay, cool. That's a cool area.
Yeah, it is a beautiful area.
Mm-hmm.
So, was it difficult to get in those schools? And now that you're in there, I'm sure that they love you being in there, but have you met any resistance? And also, if you're watching,
yes, absolutely.
We'll give out her information here in a minute too, as well. This is such a great thing. It's so needed.
It is, yeah, absolutely. We do have one school district. It's not Las Cruces school district. Las Cruces has been very open and allowing us to come in. The mayor has thanked me and about the prayer time that we had over the we had a family prayer a few weeks ago, and so it is very open here, and I'm very, very thankful for that. But there is a school district, I'm not going to mention the school district, but there is a school district in this area that I'm having a very hard time getting in there. Yes.
And what are they telling you? What are their arguments for not encouraging you to be there? I'm trying to be very diplomatic.
No. This particular school district, I kind of understand what is going on in this one because the last 8 years, this superintendent has been there. They have not allowed any after-school care or after-school clubs.
Okay.
So his argument is if I allow you in, then I'm going to have other not so good after-school clubs come in. And so I did the argument, of course, this is something that I know this particular school district is really rough, and, we could really get in and change a lot of these younger kids' lives, and if other things come in, God is strong, bigger. That's right. He really is.
And, for me, I mean, this could be just my toxic masculine energy. I'd be like, look, bro, you guys want to deal with the Supreme Court? I don't think so. You know,
You could
I do
record
throw
Zeke
that
saying that
in
and
the
just
very
play it.
last, if I have to, I will throw that in.
that's just don't even say anything. Just pass them the ruling. You know what I mean? Pass them the case law. It's like, they really don't have anything else against that because you have the backing to push that if you really want to. You're not doing it. I get it. You don't want to go in there throwing nukes around right away. But to me, that's a red flag that you need to get in there like now.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So we are actually working on that particular district right now.
Yeah.
So
Let me know if you need help.
And don't give up. And I know you
Don't give up. I'll be praying for you.
No,
I'll be praying for
absolutely.
you.
I know
Absolutely.
you won't.
So June 1st is very exciting because I took the state director position, we needed a ministry coordinator down here in southern New Mexico. So we are hiring a ministry coordinator, and she is bilingual. So we'll be able to start also a Spanish ministry also
Need
down
that
here.
all day. Yeah.
Yeah. So, things are happening and we're growing, and we cannot do this without, support and donor support and everything. So God is good. And
Yeah,
He's been
please
providing.
support and donate to Dee and her organization. This is amazing. I'll put a donate on the link in the descriptions on the YouTube page. And then just real quick, I kind of want to quickly go back to the story, the backyard story, how that impacted you. I envision like going to a backyard and there's like a lush green backyard and just like someone awesome reading books. I don't know. Do you guys still do anything like that, or how does that work?
Yeah. So actually we do. We have all sorts of visuals. And our wordless book, I don't know if you guys have heard the wordless book. This is actually the colors. A lot of times you'll see them in bracelets. The wordless book is actually our tool to share the gospel. And so every color is related to a scripture in the Bible. And so we teach that to children especially. They love that. And that's how we lead children to Christ. We also, I've led adults to Christ through the wordless book too. So we have lots of curriculum. Visuals. The Backyard Bible Club usually we come in with all of our visuals, and we sing songs and we play the CD player, and we have just a lot of fun and do games and everything. So it is very common to what you were saying with the Backyard Bible Club back in the old days.
Right.
We still do that.
Wow.
And this is open to all children. I mean, there's no requirements.
We actually have preschool age curriculum, which is 3 to 5, and then we have 5 to 12. And then we have Christian Youth in Action, which is CYIA, and it is 12 all the way up into college age. And what we do is we give them a training, a really deep training. Every summer they go for a whole week to Cloudcroft, and we give them through a camp.
Oh, lucky.
And,
Fun.
yeah,
Fun.
it's a lot of fun. And we train them how to
Cloudcroft's in
share
the mountain,
gospel.
guys, for those of you who may
Yeah,
not
we
know.
love that.
Very pretty, very nice.
It's cool up there in June.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, it's beautiful. But we train them how to become missionaries, and then they go back into their communities and they run these 5-day clubs or vacation Bible schools.
So all through history, guys, Abrahamic, specifically Christian religions that start their own economies, start their own communities, are always the most prosperous. They have the most laws. They have the least amount of crime. And so basically what she's doing and advocating and representing is like the pinnacle of humanity right here. That's just what we've seen through history. The only real message that's pushed against the human sacrifice, child sacrifice, has been the message of Jesus. And so, her going and giving these kids a chance to be introduced to that, and the parents as well. It's not just for the kids; it's like the parents have an outlet too. They can learn too. I'm sure you get to the parents as well sometimes, right?
Oh, absolutely. We have testimony after testimony of kids. They receive Jesus as their Savior, and then all of a sudden they go home and they tell their parents about the Lord, and then the parents want to go to church.
Boom.
And then they get saved.
That's
so
wonderful.
it's a huge thing.
So yeah, you're like, you're like a hero. You're a modern day hero. I love it.
Well, it's all God. He does everything for me.
Dee, it's so needed in today's world, and it's just when I found out about it, I'm like, that is so cool.
Yeah, thank
We
you.
don't know about it, and I'm so happy that you're doing this, and the parents, I'm sure you get some great, fantastic feedback. Give your information out, website, how somebody can donate, get a hold of you. Maybe there's other you take volunteers.
We do.
and all
We take
that.
volunteers.
Give yourself a little 30-minute commercial.
Sure. So you can get a hold of me. I could give me my phone number. It's 575-202-5454. And you can get a hold of me that way. We have CEF of Las Cruces, New Mexico, or Southern New Mexico. That is our website, CEF of Southern New Mexico. And then we have a CEF of Las Cruces, New Mexico at gmail.com. That is our email. And so you can contact me. We take volunteers all over Southern New Mexico. So if you know of anyone in Deming or Lordsburg or Silver City or even East, anywhere, that would like to start a Good News Club in their school, please contact me.
I have connections all over those areas. I will be sure to try to plug you in as much as I can. And just real quick too, in terms of the spiritual battle, you look at the people who are battling against politically in the community. They're always attacking the children. Look at our freaking school scores at the public school. We just talked about Sarah Smith, 6% reading proficiency. It's like,
it's terrible.
So this is the antithesis to that. It's just like she's actually helping the kids. They're actually finding the Spirit of the Lord with children and their parents. It's the opposite. So in terms of spiritual warfare, you're like a nuclear bomb. I mean, that's a negative way to put it, but you know what I mean. It's like you're a positivity bomb.
It's all good.
Positivity bomb,
Right.
I would say. So she's super important in terms of spiritual warfare. Like, I'm going to do everything I can to be supporting you.
Thank you.
And to be an advocate for what you're doing for the community, because it's just massively needed. I mean, it's just beyond words.
It is, absolutely. Our children are our next generation, and it's so important that we touch their lives now so that they can have the Holy Spirit work through them. If they're in a home that is full of alcohol, drugs, abuse, or gender confusion or anything, the Holy Spirit, when they hear the Word of God, the Holy Spirit will work through them and help them through middle school and high school and all the way through life.
And we have all that, the worst in the country here.
Absolutely.
Everything that you just said, alcoholism, the abuse, the starvation, the transgender sexualization, and all of that's worse here than anywhere else in the country.
Yeah.
So for you to be countering that in a positive way, in a beautiful way, it's like, man, it's a blessing. What a blessing.
We really appreciate it. Yeah. We're getting down to the last part of our program, and I want to take some time because there's also, if this wasn't enough, there's also something else, another project that Dee's talking about. We had coffee, and she is very involved and wants to help the spouses of our law enforcement officers.
Oh yeah.
So talk a little bit about that, and maybe if you're out there and you can help Dee out as well as with that too.
Sure. So my dad was a sheriff's deputy, and then he ran for sheriff around Kansas City, Missouri. There's a little town outside of Kansas City, Missouri. And so I was actually raised for a while as a daughter of a officer, and then I married an officer, and he's now retired. And so my heart has always been, I had a really big, kind of started a support group in Missouri where my husband worked. And my heart has always been to start a podcast and helping officers' wives, because we are actually, no one really gives us much support in anything. And so we are actually the backbone of our husbands. We stand up behind
every
what's
wife
going
is
on.
the backbone of
They
her
are.
husband.
They are. Yeah. But in all of this stuff that's going on in the world, the wives get hit the most, I think, or the hardest.
Yeah. Not appreciated.
Not appreciated enough. So I just kind of feel like I want to start something that we could talk about openly, because a lot of times officer wives, they go through so much abuse at home. The officer comes home, he's tired, he's angry, he's got PTSD. I remember one time my husband picked up a couple kids off the middle of the road in a wreck many years ago, probably I'd say 18 years ago now, and his PTSD was so bad. His PTSD was so bad that he couldn't even drive the vehicle. We went to town, and I finally said, let me take the vehicle and I will drive home, because you don't realize how bad your husband has been affected with the things that they have to deal with day in and day out. And so, but women, officers' wives, we don't talk about it. We hold it all in because we don't want anyone to know about what's going on in our family. And I think that having a safe spot or a little podcast that we could share a little bit about it, I think that would help us.
Yeah,
That's
having
a great
an outlet,
idea.
talking about it is huge. I had a friend that was at Albuquerque Police Department for a few years up in, obviously, Albuquerque. And within the first 2 years of him being there, he had shot several people, killed a few people. And it was, needed to happen. Mm-hmm. These guys were crazy. They were going to hurt people. And it affected him massively. But his wife was there for him. His wife is a registered nurse, and God bless him. He got out of the police force. He's doing really good now. He's up in Virginia. But strong marriage. They had a very strong marriage. It made him stronger. He went through a lot. I was there for him too. But the law enforcement and their spouses absolutely need more support. And having a voice with the podcast, maybe you can use the studio here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think, especially now here in Las Cruces, everything that we've been through recently with Officer Hernandez and everything going on, I think you'd get a lot of support with that.
Much needed, absolutely.
Yeah.
You're so right. And because today it's different than 20 years ago when you're a police officer. It's so rough.
Glad my husband's retired.
Well, and I have a nephew
right.
that was also, and I'm like, I'm kind of, it sounds a little bit selfish, but it's very frightening. I can't even imagine.
I can't either.
I got good feelings about that though. If you can get these girls to come together and you girls can start supporting each other, I think that would be amazing.
I think it's a great
I think so,
idea.
too.
It'd be great.
So if you'd like to help Dee, or maybe you yourself are the spouse of a police officer.
Yeah, I know several.
You know,
Yeah.
and
So
there's
I'd love
police
that.
women
do
too.
to kind of put you involved in the.
Are
Give
there,
me a
you know
call.
what? Are there police that many police women in the Las Cruces Police Department? Do you know? I don't know what the stats are.
You know, I don't know. I
I've
know there's
seen like
maybe
one
a
or two.
couple. Yeah, but I don't know. And you know, in the other department that my husband worked for, there was actually this. They were both officers, the husband and the wife, at the same
wow.
department. So
Oh,
you know,
cool.
it's one of those things that sometimes you have to deal with the opposite. You know, where they need the support on the other side too.
Maybe we get
So-
you in with the police union. Have you talked to the union yet?
I have not. No,
Yeah,
that's
I'll get you in touch
that's
with the
a good
president of the
thought.
union.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's good.
I got you.
That's a good
Same thing
idea.
with the sheriff as well.
Okay.
I got you. I just talked to them a couple weeks ago.
Oh, that'd be perfect.
Yeah,
Absolutely, that's
100%.
great.
I got you.
Okay.
And I can do that in all counties too.
I have
Oh,
a
there we
question for you too. Do you know there's an organization in Phoenix, Angels? Oh gosh, now I can't remember. Angels on Patrol or something like
Oh,
that.
I've heard of them.
And what they do is they kind of help the police officers. You know, it's like maybe the police officers get called. It's a domestic violence, and a lot of times the police officers themselves they have to end up coming up with money for a hotel and things like that.
Right.
But they call this organization, and they show up and kind of help take that over so they can go
Yep.
on to
Yes.
finish up their job.
Yep, yep.
But I don't know that we have something like that here.
No, I don't think we do.
No.
I have a Phoenix connection, and after the show, I'll
that
give
would be
you
really neat.
her
Yeah.
information.
Because you get all sorts of things. One time we were walking through Walmart, and we had just recently adopted our youngest daughter, and someone came running up to me. My husband was a lieutenant, so everybody knew him. And he came running to my husband. We just had a baby, and we need someone to take it. Officer White, will you take the baby? Well, we can't just take the baby, but there are needs out there. You know, we as officers and officers' wives, we have hearts for them, and we want that. You know, I'd love to have taken that baby, but of course we
Can't
couldn't.
do everything.
We can't do everything.
You can't do everything.
So
yeah.
yeah.
It's so much. Just everything that you're doing already. Wow.
It's mostly based on bringing people together, which is much needed too. We all need to start coming together at some point. We can't just be bickering about how bad things are all day. It's like at some point we got to start hanging out and start finding solutions and being there for one another, because it's just going to get worse. And and that's I've accepted that at this point. I'm not in denial about that. But what gives me hope is hanging out and hearing about what Dee's doing, hanging out with Alice, because she's got so many connections too, and she's done such a tremendous amount in Arizona, in Maricopa, and she's bringing that here. And this is what we're doing right here. We're sharing our connections and we're spreading the word. And we're just trying to help our community. It's not like.
And you know what? I mean, moving back, it's going to be 2 years the end of this month. And Las Cruces is still a very good community. There
It
is so
is.
much good energy and wonderful people here in the surrounding communities as well. So,
agree.
we can't give up hope.
No.
And we never should. We never should.
Absolutely not.
We are getting to the very end of our program. So is there anything that we didn't touch on that you wanted to say?
No, I think this was great.
One last shout out
Oh,
for
yeah.
how to get a hold of you.
Yeah, just call or text me at 575-202-5454. And if you want to talk about helping me with the Police Wives thing or CEF, I'd love to hear from you guys.
Great.
Awesome.
And I always like for Zeke to take us out in prayer before we say our final goodbye, because you do such a wonderful job, sir.
Thank you. All right. Lord, thank you so much for bringing us here together, these amazing spirits, these people, and doing everything that we can to help our community so we can help the children, so we can help spread your message. Lord, please continue to give us the energy and protect us and bring us the connections that we need, because at this time, Lord, we do need to come together. We do need to stand up for what's right, which is the children and your message, Lord. Thank you so much for all the blessings and for bringing Dee here on the show here today and just everything else, Lord. So grateful for all your blessings. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Thank you and amen. Wonderful. Well, I think anything else that we need to
No,
finish
that's
off
it.
with?
I mean, it's getting crazy out there, guys, but for whatever reason, I got an amazing feeling about what's going to happen. It's like you hear a lot of bad news, but there's a lot of good news going on too. And I'd say just keep praying, stay focused, do something. Do something. Come on now. It's not that hard. I do so many things in a
Even
day.
if it's a little thing.
Yeah.
Come on.
I want to make you feel lazy right now. All right? I get up at 3:30, 4 a.m. I wake up. I run about 4 or 5 miles. I'm running about 2 companies right now. I'm about to
He's
start a new
not
company.
kidding. I saw him run the other day.
Yeah, I just want to run on. Come on. You can do it. It's not that hard. Get a little coffee going in there. Whatever you got to do. The human brain and the human body and the human spirit is so powerful. You're capable of so much. The programming that we've been inundated with since we were kids has made you think that you can't do anything, that you're not worth anything, but you are worth everything and you can do a lot. I believe in you. If you're watching the show, I believe in you. You can do a lot more than you think you can. Push yourself, please.
Thank you, Dee White, with New Mexico State Director for CEF, Child Evangelism Fellowship. I'm Alice Lara. Thank you, chipsters, chipsteros, chipsteras. with the Chips and Salsa Show New Mexico and my partner.
Zeke Rodriguez.
Have a great week.